In a world of endless information, verifying truths is crucial to avoid misinformation.
Because lately something has changed, and this is a very true statement. Stories move faster than facts. We see this every day. Rumors feel real before anyone checks them. We see this every day. And even people who care about the truth, good people, get pulled into things that just aren't true. And this week I realized something uncomfortable. It's happening to all of us. I remember my early days of social media. I would run rampant on tweets. This is when I was on Twitter, without verifying anything. Just because John said it, it's got to be true. And I got embarrassed a lot when somebody very quietly came back to me and said, "Here's the citation that you're wrong." Now, me being who I am, I admit to wrongdoing, and I would have to repost. Sorry, everybody, I was wrong. Here's the citation to prove that. And what that sets up is a lack of integrity, right? Because now you're one of those people that you just don't know who to believe. And I slowly over time started to change my habits, my behavior, what I do, what I don't do. So, now if I see something that just sounds so, one, ridiculous, or two, so fantastic that I would love this to be true, the first thing I do is I go to the internet and I do extensive research to see if this is true or not. If I can't find any credible sources verifying that this fact is true or not, I don't talk about it. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Bill Cancel here, host of the Bariqua BC2 show. But as you noticed, the Bariqua BC2 show logo is not here today. That's because we're launching a brand new series today called Life After the Algorithm. This is a non-political show. And that's part of the BC2, the Bariqua BC2 brand, is that we don't want to get pigeonholed into one specific genre. Yeah, it's great to be a political commentator and stuff like that, but there's a lot of other things that I think are very important to talk about. And we are going to be developing new series, such as this one, to kind of address those points over time. So, welcome to episode 1 of Life After the Algorithm. This is a show that's going to post weekly, so the next episode will be next weekend. And I hope you find it informative, and let me know what you think. So, number one, what is Life Behind the Algorithm about? What is this show about? This is not a breaking news show. It isn't about who's winning or losing today. The show is about something much bigger. It's how we live, think, and stay grounded in a world where information never stops moving. Because lately something has changed, and this is a very true statement. I'm finding this myself personally, maybe others are as well. I'd love to know. Stories move faster than facts. We see this every day. Rumors feel real before anyone checks them. We see this every day. And even people who care about the truth, good people, get pulled into things that just aren't true. And this week I realized something uncomfortable. It's happening to all of us. I remember my early days of social media. I would run rampant on tweets. This is when I was on Twitter, without verifying anything. Just because John said it, it's got to be true. And I got embarrassed a lot when somebody very quietly came back to me and said, "Here's the citation that you're wrong." Now, me being who I am, I admit to wrongdoing, and I would have to repost. Sorry, everybody, I was wrong. Here's the citation to prove that. And what that sets up is a lack of integrity, right? Because now you're one of those people that you just don't know who to believe. And I slowly over time started to change my habits, my behavior, what I do, what I don't do. So, now if I see something that just sounds so, one, ridiculous, or two, so fantastic that I would love this to be true, the first thing I do is I go to the internet and I do extensive research to see if this is true or not. If I can't find any credible sources verifying that this fact is true or not, I don't talk about it. I will not talk about it. That's the algorithm, folks. All right, so the week that made me stop, this week alone, numbers of, these are just facts as to what I saw this week that got me to where I am today. Just this week. Numbers about Epstein documents changed by the hour. I saw an initial post that said he was in 3,000 Epstein files, Trump. Ro Khanna said 13,000. It jumped to 18,000. And by the end of the day, it was at 138,000 times. None of which is provable. Political rumors spreading before anyone confirmed them. Again, we are so hungry for a victory. We are so hungry for justice. We are so hungry to finally get our points across that we have arrived at a point where rumors, maybe we should investigate. It's the same logic. Pause, take a few seconds, check. Okay? Stories about people that sounded shocking and turned out to be completely false. We see this every day. Every day. I saw a post yesterday that a certain individual was changing parties. I was shocked. I was ready to blast this motherfucker on Blue Sky. I said, Ashpet, do what you practice and what you preach. Went, verified the story, across multiple internet searches, complete fabrication. That's the algorithm controlling you. So, here's the part that matters. These weren't coming from people trying to lie. They were not genuinely trying to lie, the things that I saw. This wasn't coming from people, they weren't coming from people who were angry. In fact, they were coming from people who were angry, tired, frustrated, and looking for answers. And that's the point, right? Because we're so angry, we're so tired, we're so in demand of answers that we need it right now. Don't work that way. They were coming from people who wanted things to make sense. We want that every day. We want to see the sensibility in all of this. We want to try to understand the sensibility of all of this. The algorithm doesn't reward patience. It rewards emotion. Understand that statement. The algorithm is this constant churning engine that the more emotion you spew into it, the faster it goes. If you get patient on stuff and wait, the slower it goes. We're at this phase right now. The more shocking something sounds, the faster the algorithm spins. And suddenly we're not sharing information each other anymore. We're sharing feelings. So let's take a pause there because that's a big difference. You should share your feelings on social media. You absolutely should. Whether you're sad, crying, pissed off, infuriated, you want to best crash your house, whatever you want, you should share that. That you should share. Okay. But to sit there and say on November 3rd, 1967, John and Mary Doe did this, do you have any proof? No, that you shouldn't be sharing that. Because you're spinning the algorithm again, spinning it again. So how does the algorithm change? Social media used to show what happened. That was the big claim to fame with social media. We were real time able to see what happened in a certain situation. Now it shows us what it wants to show us to keep watching, to keep engaged. That's a massive difference. The algorithm doesn't ask, is this accurate? Doesn't care. It just cares how many clicks and how many posts are coming from it. That's what it cares about. Anger keeps people scrolling. It does. Fear keeps people scrolling. It does. Outrage keeps people scrolling. It does. Calm explanations don't. Now, let's take a pause there. Um, there are many in the social media community who follow this today. And I respect all of you significantly across my entire social media platform uh, that very quickly sit there and say, calm down, calm down. That's not what was said. That's not what was posted. That's not what really happened. And those to me are the regulators of the algorithm. And we need that. And we all need to become regulators of the algorithm. Because if not, it's just doom scrolling and fear scrolling and so on and so forth. And that's bad. We have a massive battle, a massive war that we are in right now that we need our conscious minds to be as clear as possible. Because the more exhausted we get from the algorithm, the less we're going to be able to do. So you have to free up that space. And this is how you do that. Um, so the next one, the hard part to admit. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Misinformation just doesn't happen on the other side. I remember there was a time when we were on the Democratic side, we were able to really pinpoint misinformation coming from the Republicans. But the algorithm changed and the algorithm turned into this maniac machine, if you will. And now both sides are doing it. Now some people sit there and say, no, 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 the Dems don't do that. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Okay? And painfully obvious every day when you're on social media and you see a person who represents who expresses themselves as a Democrat saying fictitious stuff. And this stuff happens because we're human and we still can't quite figure out how to put all the pieces of the puzzle together. So we just boom, hit the keyboard. We want stories that confirms that we already believe. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for a belief structure from stories that show what we've been saying along actually are true. Um, it's responsibility. Whether you have a social media platform with 500 people on it, or you have a social media platform with 500,000 people on it, or 5 million people on it, you have an obligation. Your followers are looking to you for information. Sometimes they're looking to you for guidance. Sometimes they're looking to you for explanations. You have to be responsible for what you're saying and what you're doing. Also understand, because this is very critical, we don't need misinformation to make our case. If our case is so solid, we don't need misinformation to make it. Uh, Definitely remember that the outrage is exhausting. I've said this many times. I will continue to say it again. I balance my social media time every day. I am a morning person. My day starts at 4 o'clock in the morning with my coffee, and then I'm in research mode till 7. Then by 7 o'clock, I'm doing shows. I may have a guest show in the middle of the day, but when I'm not working, I'm not social mediating. Okay, so there's definite hours of the day that I'm off the air. Okay, because I don't want to get exhausted because then I become ineffective. So find that balance within yourself to do that. The world will continue. If you're not on social media for 2 hours, trust me when I tell you, the world will continue. If you're not in social media between the hours of 4 and 8 p.m., the sun will set. It will set without you being on social media. It's going to happen. So You're not missing anything, okay? And remember that the algorithm profits from exhaustion. It wants you to get tired. That's why it's churning so quickly. You don't have to live there. So this show it isn't about telling you what to think. It's about helping all of us think more clearly. Because we have better politics, a better country, or even just a little more piece of it, our own heads, we have to step outside the machine sometimes. And that's very important to understand. So that's the first episode of Light Behind the Algorithm. Again, we will have varying subjects that fit into this whole algorithm theory and conversation. Next show will be out next Saturday. I truly hope you enjoyed this. Again, this is our first entry into the non-political space, and I really hope you like it. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow morning for Under the Radar.